So this is video 3 on different methods that you use in the string class. So remember, what we're learning, I'm showing you in the main, okay? But you probably, more than likely, are going to be using this mostly in methods. It just makes it quicker for me to just show you these things. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is concatenation. So concatenation is basically just making a compound word because it's adding strings together. So when you add strings together, you know, woodchuck becomes woodchuck when you add them together. So that's exactly what's happening here. There's two ways to do it. You can use the method concat, okay, and it adds, or it puts together S1, which would be sun, and S2, which would be shine, and it should make sunshine. But this one does the exact same thing. So we tend to kind of forget about this one and use this one more, but it is, you know, allowed. Maybe you like it. I don't know. So they both produce the sunshine. So just so you know, you can do this more. Say I wanted to say sunshine shine. I can do this. I could add S2 to it 5 times and it would continually put sun on the back of this. Now the same thing happens here. You can, and this is just blows your mind, I would think. You can just simply keep concatenating, or we can do the same thing with substring and character at and all those different kinds of things, because this is returning the same kind of value that this one needs. So this is its string now. So this is sunshine here, but then we're going to add on to it shine, and I could keep doing it if I wanted to, as many times as I need it. So as long as the types match, like before the dot here has to be a string, I can put anything I want here. I could have put substring here, and you know, it would work. So it's a very interesting thing. Okay, so that just added shine on, and the plus sign did that. Now notice here, this S3, S4, may not be thinking about it now, but this is concatenation. This method, this output right here is always a string. So we always have to add to it, you know, to change the different types of output that we have. So also, when you concatenate with a number, I have people cutting down trees in my front yard right now, so when you concatenate a number with a string, different things happen. So let's just take this out so I don't have to look at it anymore. Okay, if I concatenate with a number, so 1776 plus 8 plus fun day. I don't know. I'm making stuff up here, so there we go. What's going to happen? What do you think? I don't know. Oh, what did I forget? Oh, my quote here. Okay, notice it added 1776 and fun day, and 8, whatever I did. Oops, sorry. So what happens if I just take this and I switch it around? Okay, instead of having this here and this here, oops, I don't know what I just did, but go me. Remember, now we've talked about this before, but just to put this in a line with the string unit section that we're in right now, notice that this one, it won't add it together. Once we have a string, it's always going to be a string. So if it was first, you know, it's going to add it together in our output. Now if I do the same thing instead of in an output, and say I do this in a, I'm going to copy this so I can use it later, and I put this in a declaration statement. Oh, watch the crazy stuff. So we'll call this S5 because our variable names are just awesome. So what happens here? Oh, I didn't, hold on. I didn't output it. So I want to output S5. Okay, so now this is okay, it still does that same basic thing. So this, even if it's in a assignment statement, as long as we're adding a string onto it eventually, it's going to be okay with the, let's just take this out. It's going to be okay. But the problem here is, if I try to do this without having a string concatenated with it or added to it, it's the wrong type and it doesn't like it. So 1776 plus 8, it's not going to like. So whenever you try to put strings, or sorry, you try to put integers or doubles or whatever into a string, you definitely have to add it with a string. Okay, you can just do something like this and just add it with an empty string, and that will be fine. And it will do the same thing that you would expect it to. But again, if you do it the other way around, if I put this after it, I know you're waiting with bated breath here. That is so loud. I don't know if you can hear it, but okay, so notice since the integers came after the string, it's not going to actually physically add the numbers together. It doesn't know their numbers. It's going to just make it another a string or another compound word. Alrighty. So the other thing that we have is index of. So index of is another method that can be overridden, meaning there are two possibilities. Trucks left. So what I want to talk about now is index of. So for example, if I make a string equal to Santa Claus, and index of tells me the actual position. So what it does is it actually returns a value of type int. So that's different than maybe the other ones, than substring. Okay, so if I'm searching for, say, an S, remember, you do have to remember that capital S is different than lowercase s. And if we do run this guy, we get 9, okay, because the S, the lowercase s, is in position 9. Now I can do this as a character, interestingly enough, or I can do it as a string. Either way, it doesn't matter. Most of the time we deal with strings, so you're going to stick with that. Okay, the other possibility is you can do a comma. Okay, so you can do the difference between, this one would find the very, very first position of A. Find the first position of A, of the letter A. So that would be right here, that should be at 1, yes? Now what if I want to know the second position? Or if there is more than one, or if I want to count them here. So looking here, A, the second position is here. So what I want to do is I want to start looking at this position. I want to start looking after I've already found the A. So how this works is, one way we can do this is I like to say count these things. We can count them in a loop. Okay, so I'm going to use a do while loop to actually do this. I'm going to write it out and then I'll come back. Hold on. Okay, so the way that I wrote this is I just put the positions here so you could see where the A's exist. So when this thing first runs, the position of the first place we found A is 1. So this POS is going to be 1 at this point. Okay, so what I do is I created a counter to count how many A's we have, just to see how we do that. So the position, if the position isn't equal to -1, because if it POS, if index of, sorry, returns -1, so if it returns, let's do this, -1, then we know it's the value is not found. The string wasn't found. So the moment it's equal to -1, I know that there's no more A's, the way that I'm working this sucker here. So I ran it first. It found a first position. It's a possibility. So what it does, if it's not in it, it's just going to end. So I probably, no. So if there is no A, then it would just end and say that there were 0. If it actually enters in here, then I'm going to increase the counter because I know I found one. And then here, this is our second way of using index of. Okay, I'm looking for A here, but I'm going to start, the second parameter here tells you where to start. So second parameter tells where to start looking for that letter. So I don't want to start at the actual position because there's an A right there and this will be an infinite loop. I want to start at the very next one. So if I found it at 1, I want to start looking again at 2. So I just add 1 and say, okay, if you find an A, go to the next spot. And then it just keeps going until it doesn't find it anymore. So for example, here, I found 3 A's and there are 3 A's in Santa Claus. Exciting as it may be. Okay, so what I'd like you to do after you do this, please review the notes on comparisons because we have discussed this already. So comparison using equals, ignore case, compare to, and those things. And we'll go through them tomorrow. Have a good day.